This is the Ninja 5 Plus, the spec bump version of the hugely popular Ninja 5 with a new processor and new chipset inside that lets it record up to 8K 30 and 4K 120 in ProRes RAW, which is hugely impressive. But when it was first announced, the overwhelming response we heard from customers was, oh, the price tag. The Ninja 5 Plus comes in right now at just over twice the price of the regular Ninja 5, for what is, essentially, in terms of the end user anyway, the exact same product in many ways. Plus, the only cameras that can actually take advantage of any of this extra power right now are the Sony FX6, the Sony FX9 if you have the big XDCA back for it, or some of the Zcam cameras. And that's only for 4K 120p side of things. Nothing at all can handle the 8K RAW for it yet. And that's the same situation now as it was a few months ago at its announcement. So for the vast majority of people with the vast majority of cameras, the regular Ninja 5 is clearly still the right choice. But leaving it there is being hugely unfair to the Ninja 5 Plus. After all, this is an 8K RAW recorder, which doesn't really exist as a product category inside this industry, let alone inside a tiny, really little lightweight 5-inch on-camera monitor recorder. The whole idea of this product is to future-proof the Ninja 5 design. It's Atomos making a statement that whenever the camera manufacturers decide to throw at them, they are going to be able to record it. And perhaps the best current example of that is their announcement of 8K RAW over HDMI coming to the Canon R5 later this year. Now, we still have no more details on this than we did at launch, so I'm not going to spend too long talking about it. But it's something that I am incredibly excited for. The R5 can do some incredible 8K RAW recording internally already, but the camera overheats very quickly in that mode. If sending that 8K RAW out over HDMI keeps the quality, but changes the overheating situation, that would be a very impressive little combination indeed. But we're going to have to wait until later on in the year to try that out. But what we can try out now though is the 4K 120 RAW from the Sony FX6. Now this is over SDI, so you do need the SDI module and the RAW activation for this to work. The regular Ninja 5 can get up to 4K 60 in ProRes RAW, but the 5 Plus doubles that to 4K 120. And it looks fantastic. Dan took this combination home for the weekend and got some lovely, relaxed, casual shots at a family barbecue just to try it out. And as you can see, it looks great. Plus it's a really nice lightweight setup to use as well. Once we were back in the studio though, we did some more formal side-by-side tests to really dig into the difference compared to the internal 4K 120p recording. We had to do this with Final Cut, of course, rather than Resolve, which we normally like to use to do tests like this, because ProRes RAW still isn't supported in Resolve, annoyingly. But when you're looking at the log footage with no grade at all, you'll notice that the RAW footage does look slightly flatter than the internal footage, despite being based around the same log format, which is interesting. As with most RAW recording, the quality difference isn't day and night. The internal recording is so good now on these cameras that the RAW is not leagues and leagues ahead by any stretch of the imagination, especially in terms of the final output. You can grade them both to look very similar indeed in most situations. However, when you start really pushing and pulling them around, you do notice the difference. We did some over and under exposure tests, plus one filmed at completely the wrong white balance, and the RAW footage was consistently easier to get back to the right place. The final results might look very similar, but the ProRes RAW was a lot less work to get it there. Since we filmed this test, they've released a firmware that records and lets you actually change the white balance and ISO in Final Cut, rather than just giving you a slider. Unfortunately, we no longer have the Ninja 5 Plus, and our FX6 is now with a customer, so we can't test that out ourselves just yet, but that could potentially make this difference between RAW and internal recordings even more obvious. So the Ninja 5 Plus is a difficult product for me to talk about. Is it a good product? Yes, absolutely. The regular Ninja 5 is a fantastic product, and this is the same thing, but with more headroom for performance. It costs a lot more, but it can do a lot more. It looks like a regular Ninja 5, of course, but it could easily be a completely new product in terms of internals. But is it worth the extra cost? Well, right now, for most people, probably not, to be honest. The exception to that, I suppose, is if you have an FX6 or an FX9 or a ZCam E2 and you do a lot of high quality slow motion work. In that situation, definitely worth it. But this isn't a product for right now. As of recording, it's July 2021, and it's just too early to judge this yet. This is an 8K RAW recorder, and it's one that we're trying to evaluate without a camera to actually send it 8K RAW to record. This could unlock some really interesting things moving forward. It's definitely a product to keep an eye on, because all it needs is for some more cameras to release RAW outputs for it, whether that's 4K 120 or 8K. And this could be well worth the money. If you do want to buy one for yourself though now, head over to proav.co.uk and let me know what cameras you would like to see release support for the Ninja 5 Plus in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.